Most moms think that the reason they're miserable is because of the mess or the noise or the lack of time and space and support. But I'm here to tell you, yes, those things matter, absolutely. I'm not invalidating your experience and how much that might feel like it sucks. But what's really keeping you stuck, overwhelmed, exhausted, depleted, feeling like a shell of yourself has very little to do with all of that. And in just the next few minutes, I'm going to completely shift your perspective of what's actually driving your burnout, your exhaustion, your spirals, your self-sabotage, and those stress patterns that make you feel like you are failing at a role you actually love. Hi, I'm Angela, a hypnotherapist, somatic guide, and the founder of the Motherwell app. And I help moms to really, truly become their best selves using methods that are backed in neuroscience, that rewire your brain, regulate your nervous system, and turn your joy way back up. Turn it on if that's the first time you really are feeling this aliveness again in your life. So if you're a mom or you're planning to become one, you should hit subscribe and stick around. Let's get right into it. I'm going to share a secret with you. So lean in, baby. Here's the secret. You have the power to change your brain. You have the power to train your brain, and you hold the power to regulate your nervous system, to regulate your body so that you can actually feel happier, so that you can feel more calm. You hold that power. So I want that to really just land, because you have always been the secret, the key, the secret sauce, the method. Like, it is you. You are able to change your brain so that you feel more of whatever it is that you desire in your life. If that's more peace, if that's more patience, if that's more presence, even more confidence, more connection, more whatever, however you want to feel. But before we get into the how, it's important for you to understand the why first. So here's the real reason you feel like shit. Got the planner, you've tried the routines, you bought the calming oils, you've done the journaling, you've tried the yoga. Maybe you've even had a full day at the spa with your friends, and still nothing sticks, nothing lasts. You feel like you're one snack request or dog bark away from fully spiraling. Why is it always the dog? The dog is the last straw, always. You're exhausted, you're overstimulated, you're snappy, you're anxious, constantly buzzing and wondering, why the hell do I feel like this all the time? Then the mom guilt kicks in, and then we're in this vicious cycle, this stress cycle of like snapping, feeling like a shell of ourselves, dissatisfied, trying to numb out, trying our best to regulate this very dysregulated state that we're in. And then we do something or say something that we know is not how we truly want to respond, but we react. And then we end up feeling so friggin' guilty about it. Here's the thing. You are not broken. You don't need fixing. You're likely just running on a fried nervous system that's been chronically stuck in survival mode for years, possibly for most of your life, depending on what your childhood looked and felt like. And nobody's really giving you the tools to get out of it, to change that, like to really change it in a way that lasts, and to teach you how to manage it and sustain that. I bet that you're not just dysregulated. You're disconnected. In fact, it's my belief that dysregulation is a result of disconnection. Disconnection from your body, from your needs, from your desires, from the version of you that existed before motherhood, and the version that you're still becoming. There's a disconnect, and that leads to this dysregulation. And here's the truth. Most of us became moms in a world that taught us that giving everything away was the way to be good at it. Like, we need to be martyrs. We need to self-sacrifice. We need to give it all of the time in order to be considered good. And that's the expectation, especially in modern day motherhood, that gets placed on us. Be selfless, but also be soft. Be grateful. Be everything to everyone. And if you're anything like me, hello, recovering people pleaser, eldest daughter, overachiever, I have been mothering long before I actually became a mother. Been mothering everybody except for me. But that conditioning created a massive gap between who you are and who you've been performing as. And that gap, that's where the dysregulation lives. That's where the spirals start. That's what's fueling the anxiety, the snappiness, the shutdowns, And then the shame. You're not doing it wrong. Your body is just holding too much and being listened to too little. And if your nervous system is still stuck in survival mode, if your subconscious mind is still running on outdated beliefs, which, by the way, there's a connection there. Your subconscious mind is co-creating and collaborative with your nervous system. So if your subconscious mind is signaling that something's not right, your nervous system is receiving that signal and responding. So if your outdated beliefs are like, my needs don't matter, I should be able to do all of this on my own, it's selfish to rest or to say no, then even when you try to take care of yourself, your body simply won't accept it. Your system will reject it because deep down, you haven't felt safe to actually receive it. That's why even when you want to rest, you cannot seem to slow down. There's this buzzing energy inside of you, or you have to just numb out and scroll and distract yourself. That isn't deep or real rest. It's just this desperate attempt to regulate. So here's what's really going on in your brain and body. Your subconscious mind is running the show. 95%, yes, 95% of who you are, your thoughts, your habits, your beliefs, they're not conscious. They're not expressed consciously. They're learned, they're patterned, and they're protected. Your subconscious does not care if you're happy. It cares if you're safe. And safety often means repeating the same patterns, even if they're hurting you, because safety is familiar. And when we try to step into what's unfamiliar, even if that's better for us, it signals the alarms. It sounds the alarms. It feels like that's hurting you. When it senses discomfort or pressure, your nervous system will activate a survival response. Fight, flight, freeze, fawn, or a combination of a few of those. If you ever feel like you're snapping over tiny things, fight. Or you can't sit still because you can't focus, flight. You numb out and call it resting, freeze. You overgive and feel resentful, fawn. That's not your personality. That is your nervous system doing its job. And responding in the way it feels is going to be best supportive of your safety. That's why there's so many of those like memes and reels that are like, yo, I'm not actually being chased by a bear right now, nervous system. Like, chill out. My child just spilt a drink, right? But our brain and our body and that connection doesn't know the difference. Your nervous system isn't just scanning the outside world. It's scanning your internal world too. And this is where that connection between the subconscious and the nervous system comes in. So if your body, your nervous system senses a disconnect between what you need and what you're giving yourself, it interprets that as a threat. You can be safe in your home and still feel unsafe in your skin and in your body, because deep down your body is asking, when do I get to be heard? When do my needs matter? When does someone take care of me? And if the answer has been, not now, for years, your system will start to break down. Not because you're weak, but because you're trying to give from a nervous system that's never received. Here is why self-care in the traditional sense has not been working. This is why all those self-care hacks that you may have tried haven't worked. They haven't stuck. They haven't given the deep relief, because you can't self-care your way out of survival mode. You can't do the bubble bath, the journaling, the skincare, the morning routine, the face mask, the spa day. If your body doesn't feel safe enough, none of it's going to land. None of it's going to feel supportive or regulating. You'll be instead thinking about the dishes, planning the next 5 things you need to do while trying to relax. And then you wonder, why can't I enjoy this? What is wrong with me? Nothing is wrong with you. I promise you, nothing is wrong with you. You are simply operating from a system that is outdated, and your nervous system never got the memo that it's safe to receive. That's why affirmations alone don't stick. That's why mindset work alone doesn't hold. That's why even your best efforts will still leave you feeling off. because your body hasn't been brought along for the ride. There isn't a collaborative, co-creative, therapeutic healing that happens both subconsciously and somatically. And that's exactly why I created the Motherwell app, to work at the root, to give you the tools that actually speak to the part of you running the show. Because your subconscious, your nervous system, your body, they're all connected. They all need to be seen and heard and healed, not to fix you, but to upgrade the system. And in doing that, to bring you back to yourself. My wake up moment really came in a series of events until it arrived at, the match being thrown in the dumpster fire that was already forming in my life. I did not find this work because I was just simply curious. I found it because I was drowning. I was struggling. I had things that I had tried to heal on my own for so long that I could not get beyond. And I had been, building up to this point for a long, long time, since my childhood. As I mentioned, people pleaser, overachiever. I was burning myself out all along the way so that by the time I entered motherhood, my nervous system was already primed and ready for this breakdown and this dysregulation. I was already stuck in survival mode long before. So everything just compounded and worsened. And I found this work because I was really struggling myself. And I was stuck in a cycle of just reacting in ways that were not how I envisioned myself being. I was so burnt out in motherhood, especially in my postpartum days with both of my children, that I didn't remember most of it because I was so checked out and I just was unable to be present and feeling like a failure. Like I grieved so much of that and just wanted things to change, wanted things to get better, to feel like myself. And things didn't change for me until I really got so serious about the connection between my mind, my body, my nervous system, going on my own healing journey. And at this point, I had already used hypnotherapy to recover from a binge eating disorder. One single session in 60 minutes, I relieved myself of like a decade of disordered eating and really, really deep and dark issues that I was having when it came to food in my body. So I was already a bought-in believer to this work, but hadn't realized yet how it would apply to motherhood until I did. And until I said, enough is enough. I'm taking back my power. I'm taking back control here over myself. And I'm just getting really serious about what it is my body needs, what I need, and repatterning, reprogramming what I had been stuck in that was keeping me in these cycles of stress and of burnout. And so I myself began to use somatic work, healing, breath work, hypnotherapy, and really implementing these daily things for myself and going deep with hypnotherapy to really uncover, unearth, and then unlearn the conditioning that I had attached myself to subconsciously, and that was truly running the show, that was running the program, the pattern behind the scenes that I had not yet been aware of. And once I did that, everything changed for me. My entire life changed. And again, I had already been utilizing this work in different ways, but I hadn't applied it to motherhood in this way. And I ended up inadvertently creating an entire method based on my own healing and experience and the way that I had changed myself and my life. Once I really learned and saw that my identity was the issue, okay? Not the issue, because I don't want it to feel like a problem, but it was outdated with who I wanted to be, the woman I wanted to be, the mother that I wanted to be. And I was trying to implement these habits or these practices or these rituals or these routines that went directly against that identity. And when that happens, those things just simply won't stick. They won't work because, going back to what I shared, there's a safety issue there. What's unfamiliar and what doesn't align with what you deeply believe right now, with what your identity is rooted in within your subconscious, you will continue to face that resistance and you will continue to get activated or triggered and have those reactions. You first have to shift the identity and work on that at a subconscious level, at a somatic level, at a nervous system level, so that then those habits that you begin to implement and put into practice have a place to land. And that's exactly what I share and what I teach inside of my program, Motherwell. And I give the tools to help you do that, to help you make those subconscious shifts, to reprogram, retrain your brain, and rewire your body, your nervous system inside of the Motherwell app. So I wanted something that every mom could access, that could be in their pocket, so that in the chaos of motherhood, in the busyness, the fullness of your life, you had a way to press play on something and let that work be done for you amidst your life, not as a separate part of it. Because the healing that has to happen doesn't happen separate from motherhood. That's why when you try to just leave and do the spa day and do whatever without integrating into your life, there's a disconnect, and that disconnect continues this cycle of dysregulation. So I wanted these tools to be accessible, to be available, which is why I put them in an app. So you have all of my subliminal affirmation audios that speak to your subconscious and help you rewire your brain while you're doing the dishes, while you're driving in the car. Your kids can benefit from those too. And I have my deep reprogramming meditations, my hypnosis meditations for, getting to sleep, deepening into this healing so that, again, you're not having to do any work. You're not having to do any heavy lifting here for this healing. It's happening while you sleep and while you live your life. There's also different somatic experiencing, body techniques and body-based work for healing as well inside of there, using tapping and different tools and techniques. So all of it's available, from topics ranging anywhere from when you're just in the process of conceiving to pregnancy, to postpartum, support for birth, and then all seasons of motherhood beyond. And it is supporting you, the woman, not just in the part of you that is motherhood, but all parts of you. This is where you rebuild the version of you motherhood was always meant to initiate you into, always meant to activate. Not the old you, not a perfect version of yourself, the real you. The you that feels alive in your life, the you that feels happy, genuinely, not that you're faking it. The you that knows who you are, that has things and people and life outside of just your role in motherhood. The you that feels confident and sexy and fun. That you. And that's the invitation that I want to leave you with today. Starting small, making little changes just by simply noticing and having an awareness of your thoughts. Because the thought is creating a feeling, and that feeling is what's creating your reaction. So if you can just simply begin by hearing what's going on in your mind and then where that thought is happening that might be building resentment or creating anxiety, that's what's leading you into the feeling that then builds up into the reaction that you're having when you're snapping, when you're getting overstimulated, when you're feeling overwhelmed. So start there. Pay attention to how you're thinking. And beyond that, if you're looking for a way to really integrate and implement, I absolutely invite you to download the Motherwell app. These are tools that work in 5 to 15 minutes. And again, that work in the background of your life. So even when life is full, there is no excuse, baby. I literally made it so easy for you to press play and start to get those results. Healing does not require more time. It just needs the right tools at the right moment for the right thing. You are not broken. And all of these symptoms are just signals to you that you are ready to fully come home to yourself, to get to know yourself in a completely new way. Motherhood is meant to transform you. So let it transform you. Let it heal you. I hope that this video provided you with some really good information and planted those seeds. If you are feeling the pull to deepen into your own healing journey, please hang around, hit subscribe, and stay tuned for more from me. See you in the next one. Bye.